have a personality and be vulnerable. Even going back to the muscle media days, when I didn't know I was building a personality brand, but I would write about whatever was on my mind. I would write about whatever I was interested in, and it was very authentic. I would just get out and write. I remember one time I was writing an article in there, but we went out to the Mr. Olympia contest or something to cover the event, and my friends and I, we get out, probably a little bit like Josh and the guys from the lake and stuff. We get out there and get started partying, go to the strip clubs, get so drunk, and then show up at the contest next day. We're so wasted we couldn't even tell. And I read about the magazine. Well, we went to the Olympia contest, and I can't really tell you who won because we had such a good time. But we were so drunk that day, and since then I stopped drinking. That's part of growing up with all these types of things. But I mean, especially today in the social networking communities, on Facebook and your own website, stuff like that. The only thing that people are interested in is vulnerability, authenticity. You know what I mean? I mean, everything else, anything that's polished, that hits, not Joe polished, but anything that's like slick, that's like marketing polish, that hits Facebook or Twitter, it's just, they can't stand it. They can't stand it. And it doesn't work. So personality-based brands are all about you being you. And it's a great way to differentiate. People can copy my book, people can copy my challenges, people can copy my, the old EAS supplement line, but they can never copy you. And if you make your face the brand, you have a nice face, very recognizable, great smile. If you make your face part of the brand, that's nobody can compete with that, right? I mean, look at what are the biggest brands that continue to have success year after year, decade after decade. Clint Eastwood, Arnold is a brand. Got him, a government. It's just they just love certain brands, and no matter what Arnold does, most people still love it. And so it's that. But the challenge there is that if you have a key man brand and you want to sell the company, then you've got to. So I always ran my brands parallel. Like Hugh Hefner and Playboy are both brands and go together great, but Playboy can exist without Hugh Hefner. Actually. So I saw that in the 90s, and I branded Metrex and I branded EAS, especially EAS, so it would not be a key man brand. That it was during the liftoff, but that I could step away from it and sell EAS, and it still had all its value. So it's tricky, but what I just said is a very real part of it. But the neat thing is that if you're a personality brand, there goes EAS, now you can step forward and say, okay, well, my new thing is TAS. But you can come out with a new thing because you're a personality brand. When I started Metrex in 1995, we started, I don't know, the kids that had come up discovered creatine from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden, the same institute that discovered carb loading. They were playing around with some stuff, and they discovered that creatine has incredible effects on muscle energy, endurance, and lean mass. They were playing around with that, and they were doing like maybe $80,000 a year in sales. 4 years later, we were doing $150 million in sales. And it wasn't because EAS started that. No, it's because I was a key man driving the brand, and I had gotten started in the late 80s with my newsletters and books, and then with Metrex. So I had the benefit of being known as somebody who knows what works and what doesn't. So I was able to launch a new thing out of that. And now the thing I'm launching is called, well, there's a couple things, but one of them is called Life Kitchens, which is a new fast food place that I'm going to put everything I've got in my brand behind it. But it's you think of Whole Foods means McDonald's, and it's called Life Kitchen. It's love your food every day is the why for life. And I found like, oh yeah, that's great. That would be awesome. We've got the CEO of Life Kitchen, left McDonald's Global. He was in charge of 31,000 stores worldwide. He is now the president, CEO of Life Kitchens. We've got people that came in from Whole Foods. And we've got Art Smith, who was like Oprah's chef, who lost 100 pounds. He is designing the menus. So I'm going to put everything I got behind Life Kitchen, and we're going to build that brand up and have an IPO probably in the next 3 years, and then I'll be able to exit by selling my stock and whatnot. But looking for ways that I can continue to build my brand, and that's what books like Transformation are for. is to, continue to be in the arena with a discussion, talking about emotional fitness as well as physical fitness, but it's my face on the front of the book. Does anybody have one of those books? If you don't like my face, you're F for the brand. What sure heard about my hair? I sure heard it about my hairdo. Christ, are people specific. Oh, I feel so bangs. The number one fucking feedback I got from this book was, well, I liked it when your hair was up. And what did they say? They said, oh, you're trying to be Justin Bieber? I knew. I lived in Hawaii for 7 years. I fucking Laird Hamilton. All the surfers in Hawaii, try to look like Laird Hamilton. We all say English like that. So, but I mean, it's just, I'm not kidding. It was the number one feedback I got. But, so, that goes, you got to keep your brain consistent. You know what I mean? We like Arnold the Terminator, not like Mr. Mom, right?
Cool. And the first question, what motivates you nowadays?
Yeah, because I don't have, I have the opportunity of not working for money anymore. I would have retired when I was 33. Can you believe that? I started with $185 in my 20s. $185 in my 20s. Never borrowed any money. I never took any class. I never met Josh or Joe Polish until much later in my career. But with that, I was able to just get started, build it. And 10 years later, like I said, hundreds of millions of dollars. I was paid hundreds of millions of dollars for my business, which makes no sense at all to me. Mom a house, brother a house, sister a house, everybody a car. And that was the funnest part of having money, is what you can do for other people. Like Josh making a contribution to Make-A-Wish Foundation. That's awesome stuff. But you got to have to give, And if you don't do something for yourself, you're never going to have anything to really make that difference. So that's one of the neat things about it. If it's who you are, you're going to do it for money or not. Because I don't make any money now. I'm building opportunities. Like the Light Kitchen could be, multi-million dollar opportunity, because if that goes public and it gets received very well, because the environments are coming together, that's great. But I don't think about money at all, really. I don't think I'm rich. I don't think I'm poor. I just who I am. I grew up in Colorado in a small town, and more than anything, I wanted to, from the time I was a teenager, I wanted to, I wanted to have a significant life. I wanted my life to make a difference in the lives of others from a very early age. And I found out that if you make a difference and you have a business and it's set up right, you're going to make a killing. You can make a lot of money because the market's rewarded. Something that's needed and doing good work. So for me, once I got an EAF, I traveled a lot, made up for a lot of things I never got to do in my 20s because I was working all the time. Went around the world, China, Egypt. I studied comparative eschatology for a few years. I studied healing traditions, spiritual traditions, comparative religion, comparative mythology, and wanted to know more and more about what a human being is. Because someone oftentimes will say, well, what transformed you? What is a human being? So, I wanted to know more about that. So I went out and learned enough that I could really say, look, the healing traditions support doing this. Exercise, diet, that's good. Eating healthy, that's good. But beyond that, what makes a human being healthy? Beyond that, what makes a human being happy? Beyond that, what makes a human being fulfilled? And beyond that, what should a human being do? It's all based on what is a human being. So I went back and I studied for a few years, throughout the world, but I always wanted to come back to this guy right here. This guy, Ron Preacher, and the millions like him that are absolutely stuck. That are absolutely stuck in a life they don't like, in a body that doesn't work, in a mind that is smothered with problems and depression. So that's my passion. I want to do that until the day I die. I want to do that every day that I'm alive, is being able to learn more, to help more people. Sometimes I'll be able to monetize that. And sometimes you've got to make a profit to provide the service. The typical corporate model is different. You provide the service to make the profit. You know, but in a lot of these cases, it takes money to make good things happen. You know, big organizations are the ones that are ruling the way people live. You know, and if you want to make a difference, you generally got to have some resources. So sometimes I'll monetize things so that I can provide more of a service to people like Ron and to like people, you know, and then many other people that are suffering and stuff. That's what motivates me in the morning. That's so exciting. I get excited about the millionth person who sends me their story and before and after pictures as I did the first. It blows me away, and I know this is what I want to do my whole life. And it's fun, too, when you get into that. Who else?
Do you have a specific website where you can, where you maybe go a little bit more detail about how you...
Sorry. I was wondering if you had a specific website where you go in a little bit more detail of how you connect with, identify, and help veterans of Afghanistan and Iraq.
Oh, yeah, transformation.com. So we have support groups. One of the neat things with transformation.com is where all this new stuff lives. We have a very, we have a community there that thrives. It's all free. People come in, get all the information. There's a lot of information from my books, Eating for Life, Body for Life, the new book, Transformation, all on that site. But one of the neatest things about it is that you can go to a support group meeting in any, you know, in many cities around America, and there's a meeting in London, there's a meeting in Scotland, where you can go and you can sit with other people who are going through some of the things you're going through. And of course, these are typical in a recovery model. These have been phenomenal. The only thing that really helps people recover from the most painful addictions and depression is being in a community of other people. Breast cancer survivors who sit in a group once a week for an hour with people who are going through the recovery process of breast cancer help them double their chance of survivability. Double. Twice as likely to heal and move on and be cancer-free at 5 years as people who don't go to a support group. It's phenomenal. There's no supplement that can do that. There's no drug that can do that. You know, there's nothing, anything I know of that can do that. People sitting with people. So people that have suffered a loss and it's, unfortunately, the biggest groups are moms and dads, brothers and uncles of people who've lost a child. And I say child because these kids are like 18, 19, 22 years old that are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's brutal, you know. And generally, they, you know, because 70% of people in America need to get more fit, need to lose weight, they have that common bond.